Initially, I thought that Cruella was going to be a prequel to the 101 Dalmatian films, but the Cruella from this film is not the same Cruella from those films. So, Cruella actually serves as a reboot to the character from 101 Dalmatians, so it's not the same one and an origin story for her character, which I was relieved to find out because the Cruella from 101 Dalmatians was a horrible character, or at least the one in the live action. I cannot remember what the animated one was like, but the live action Cruella was very, very cringy. But anyway, I like this film. It was a lot better than I expected. There are a few things that I did not like about it, like Estella being born with black and white hair didn't really make any sense, and I figured it would have been like a way for her to like express herself. I mean, because that's what we all do. Like, all the clothes that we wear, the way we style our hair, the way we cut it, the way we dye it, all that stuff. Everything is a means of expressing who we are. So I figured it would have been a way for Cruella to do the same thing, like later on in life, to express and reflect who she is. But instead, she was born with it, and that doesn't make any sense to me. It honestly would have been a lot better if she did it herself, and it's very symbolic of who she is and finding balance between Estella and Cruella. I mean, they're the same person, but like giving too much and leaning too much in either direction, it's like it's straying too far from who she is, if that makes any sense. In the film, when she originally decided to take on the Cruella personality, it felt very cringy and very forced, like she was being someone who she was not. So it was all about finding balance, but when she was just adopting or taking on the Cruella part of her personality, it was very, very cringy. It felt very forced, and I did not like that. I mean, that's really all that I really don't like about it. I mean, there are a few other things. It's just that it's a Disney film, and sometimes with Disney films, it's just best not to take it too seriously and be overly critical. Like the Baroness, I mean, she's very apathetic, and she treats everybody that works under her like crap, so why would anybody want to do anything for her? Like, that didn't make any sense to me, but again, it's a Disney film, so it's best not to be overly critical with it. And the whole grifter gang too, like, it just amazed me that nobody could ever recognize Horace and Jasper around Cruella. So yeah, it's just a bunch of things like that. But overall, I liked the movie. It was a lot different than I thought it was gonna be, and I really enjoyed that they just rebooted her character altogether because I did not enjoy the live action one. Again, I cannot remember the animated one. I think if I remember correctly, she was a better villain than she was in the live action, because in the live action she was just horrid. But this film gives her a lot more depth. It makes her more of a likable character. Seeing the Estella side of her, I mean, whether or not she did it for her mom, it doesn't matter. Like, seeing that part of her character and seeing how she kind of comes into her own, or comes into this Cruella personality, which very much mirrors the Baroness in the way she does things. Like the scene where Estella and the Baroness have, I think, a drink. They have tea or something. No, they have champagne, and they're just having a drink, and she's essentially schooling Estella on how to be her. If you want to be powerful, if you want to have what she has, you can't be attached to people. You can't care about people. You can't do any of these things, which, I mean, it did end up hurting her because she ended up hurting her friends, but that's essentially how she models herself, or at least she took some things from the Baroness and became Cruella. And by the way, Emma Thompson is a top tier actress. Like, she did a fantastic job as the Baroness. Everybody else was kind of like, they weren't bad, but Emma Thompson for me is the one that stood out the best. So all in all, good film. At first I didn't really like that it was like a crime comedy, because again, like the Cruella and everything from the live action and the animation wasn't exactly the same thing. So this is a completely different character, so I can't even knock it for that. And that bothered me at first until I just accepted it's a reboot. And having watched the film, I'm completely okay with that. But if I had to tweak it a little bit, it would be more of Estella or Cruella, whatever, being born. I mean, she may have kind of a superiority complex, like where she thinks she's better than everybody else, but all in all, she's a good person. And then just her experiences are just influence who she is, and then wanting to be a fashion designer, and then working under the Baroness, and just being exposed to that and learning from her, and then becoming who she wants to be, of course, then learning that the Baroness killed her mother, and then realizing that she has to be different from her, she can't be the same. And I think it would have been a little bit better that way, but it was still a decent movie. It wasn't bad. I mean, I've been watching all these live action remakes of old Disney classics, and they've been a huge disappointment, but this one was a breath of fresh air. I think next on my list is probably Mary Poppins starring Emily Blunt, and I love Emily Blunt, but I completely forgot that movie even existed, so that might be next, or Moana. Plenty of Disney movies that I have not seen yet, but Cruella right now is setting the bar because Cruella, out of all these live action like remakes and reboots, etc., this is the best one I've seen so far. But yeah, I'm not gonna take up too much time on this because this movie's been out for a while, and yeah, I pretty much said everything I wanted to say. I don't want to be overly critical. Again, it's a Disney movie, it's family friendly, kind of. It's a little darker than I expected, but it's still family friendly, so that leads to things not making sense sometimes. So it's cool. But I had a good time watching it. I definitely watch it again. Let me know what you think in the comment section if you like this film, if you hated it, because I know a few people who did not like it. So go ahead and share your thoughts down below and hit that like button. It does help me a lot. Subscribe if you have not already, and I will catch you on the next video next Friday. See you then. Bye bye.